Now, if we're all ready to learn more about the latest in watercolor supplies and gift ideas, it's my joy to present from Wet Paint, Liz and Virginia.
Hey.
Hey, well, hi, everybody. I just want to say a big thank you to the Minnesota Watercolor Society for inviting us to spend a little time with you and go through some basic information about papers, brushes, paints, and also a lot of fun products that you, I'm sure, want to know more about. And Liz is going to demo that. Then we're going to share the screen and show you our holiday catalog for some fun gifts and some ideas and later on in there. So thank you so much.
Yep.
All right, Liz.
Yeah. Hi. It's nice to be here. So thank you for inviting me as well. I have, worked with wet paint for 16 years. So I'm sure I've helped some of you in the store, if not all of you at one point. So it's really fun to be here. I do a lot of media, but a lot of water-based media. That's my focus. And I do tend to use things all together, but also on their own. So we can dive into material usage as in-depth as time allows. I also, through wet paint, teach a lot of different techniques for a lot of the things that you'll see tonight, like the Neocolor crayons and a masking fluid technique, as well as a multitude of other projects. So we do a lot of classes, and we have a lot coming up this winter and spring that are involved with water media. So that might be something to keep on your radar. So we can start. I'm sure a lot of you have some understanding of what watercolor is. The very foundation of it is its pigment, its binder, which is gum arabic. Sometimes it's a sugar or a sweetener like honey to attract moisture. And sometimes it has a wetting agent like oxgall or a synthetic wetting agent to help move the paint. Some brands don't have wetting agents at all. Those brands are Holbein does not use a wetting agent, and neither does, there's someone else. I don't know. Thought someone else didn't. Okay, it will come to me. There's another brand of paint called Core, which was introduced by Golden probably 4-5 years ago now. And they have an interesting binder. So instead of using a traditional binder like gum arabic, they use a binder called Aquazol. And I can't spell it, so don't ask. I did go to art school. That's my excuse. But I'm just getting, this is just happened to be in front of me, as it usually is. So this is not a core set. This is just the core colors that I own. And there is a manganese blue. Earlier we were chatting about that color. And the Aquazol was made for conservation purposes, for painting restoration. And somehow, somewhere, someone got a hold of Golden and said, you know, you can put pigment in this and it will last longer. And the Aquazol itself can physically hold more pigment than gum arabic. So that makes core watercolor extremely intense, which of course, if you do watercolor, you know, when you lay down your first few washes, a percentage of your color is absorbed right away and you're gonna keep glazing to build that luminosity. But this is really one coat of paint just applied to make this color grid to see what I could get out of the selection that I owned. And it's intense, and this is a few years old. This isn't ever going to fade. This is, we made this at the state fair event, which was with them.
No, I don't think so. Unless, were you all at the state fair a couple of years ago? Was that, no?
That must have been another watercolor group. Never mind, never mind. No, they don't matter. They don't, forget them. But no. But anyways, so this is old. It's been around. It's in great shape. A few are brand loyal, which I know a lot of watercolorists are. Stop it. Don't do that anymore. No. What I try to do when I help someone coming in who wants to get started with watercolor, and I don't want to hear any cringing or gasping, but first I tell them not to use student grade paint, because student grade paint has a lot of filler in it. And with watercolor, really the most important thing you have to work with is the pigment. So don't suffer. You're not going to get a happy result, because it's not something like acrylic where you can fudge it a little bit and add things, or oil where you can like build things. You really just have that immediacy of the color on paper. So I suggest to people strongly that they buy the best quality paint that they can afford. And lucky them, we have very great prices on a lot of great brands. And we usually have a set or two on promotion, so people don't have to suffer. And there's other options too, if people just want to experiment different sets. But usually I would recommend to someone, like very beginners who come in, I say, get one tube of each, get a palette, get a tube from everybody. I can also go through all the properties of all of those brands with the person and find out what kind of work they want to make. If someone's really into wet and they're really going to just stay in their studio or their workspace, they're not going to travel or do urban sketching, then I usually would recommend Graham, because it's so pigmented. But there are reasons I don't take that with me, because it's very sticky. But it works really well in those other applications where you might want that paint to really move. So there are colors I like from everybody. There are traditional brands like Winsor Newton, Daniel Smith, Schminke. They're all phenomenal. And they all will kind of do what you expect a watercolor to do. Some colors will granulate, of course, some pigments will naturally. Some colors will sit pretty tight, some will move across the page. Some are easily lifted, some are not. And that's just the properties of particular pigments. And those brands are pretty universal. I didn't mention Holbein that time because, like I said earlier, they don't use a wetting agent, and a wetting agent is what moves your paint across the page. And I recommend that for someone who's doing very particular detailed work, because then they're going to have more control. And that makes sense to me. And in its application, that you want to know where you're putting that color. But if you do like really loose stuff and abstract stuff, almost anyone else is really fine for you to try out. As far as taking paints with you from like brand to brand, the ones I have the most in my travel kits are Schminke, which I have some of their like dedicated sets. I have a Daniel Smith set. I have Motley Crue sets that I've just put together of Holbein. And I find that those three brands really re-wet well. When you just mist them, it seems like they activate right away. So for being on the go, and even just working in my studio, if I'm going to work from a pan set, those are the ones I would probably recommend. And like I said, I mean, I have colors that I love from every brand that I will always use. Like I love Winsor Newton's. I don't want to like, I like everyone, but Winsor Newton is just very pricey, which is why I don't use them as much anymore. But I know that's the brand that people, they adore it, and it is great paint. But there are so many other options too that are worth trying and that are very doable and very affordable. But like I said, there are a couple of colors I absolutely have to use from the particular brands, like Winsor Newton. I love their Cad Orange. I love their Naples Yellow. I love their Quinn Gold. Well, everyone's Quinn Gold has changed now, but so I mean, you kind of, by trying different brands, you get to learn what you like and what to expect from people. The Payne's Gray from Holbein is actually Payne's gray. It's not purple. It's not blue. It's like a beautiful, like I mean, it's more bluer, but some Payne's grays are just like mud, and it's very clean, and it's its own like beautiful, tone to add to any palette. Other colors from Holbein I love are, they're Indian yellow, they're ultramarine, they're sap green, and those are all pretty like common colors to put into a palette. I mean, I could go on about every brand, any brand, if you want to come in and talk about it, but one day I'll just make a big list of all the colors I use from every brand. No, that would be a very weird read. But what I'm saying is, if you're in a rut and you're stuck or bored, try a brand you've never tried. You're probably going to like something about it. It's going to feel different under your brush, and at least you'll be doing something new, and it will take you out of the winter art funk.
How about pigments? We were talking at the beginning that some pigments are missing in action now or going to be. And how do pigments come to be in these color lines in our industry?
Well, it's interesting because as artists, of course, our number one need and want is our color, right? But our color comes from the runoff. Everything comes from the runoff from other industries. So pigment is really made for the automotive industry. And after the automotive industry, it's made for exterior home paint. Those are the two. It's kind of surprising because you would think artists would be like, have some pull there. But those are the two largest industries that direct the drive for pigment. So when something is gone, it's because it's unpopular in one of those industries, or it's so depleted that it can't be sourced anymore. So there are some troubles with some blues going around. The Antwerp blue from Golden, they've been having a little hiccup, and I think that's in one of their purples too, in their acrylic line. I don't know, because not every color is made in oil, watercolor, and acrylic. There is a lot of crossover, but some pigments will sit better in some binders. But that's why colors come and go. That's why Quinn Gold changed. Was it 2 or 3 years ago? And like there was like a panic to buy the traditional Quinn Gold because it was gonna be altered and to keep getting a tone that was similar. But it's a thing that happens and will continue to happen. Cadmiums are getting phased out by a lot of companies, I've noticed. In acrylic lines, Liquitex has a whole new cadmium-free line for their acrylic. Winsor Newton has cadmium-free cadmiums, like based colors. Daniel Smith has never made cadmiums. They've always done hues. And people are doing that, I think, one, so they can send stuff to California, which is a huge state. It's a huge business. Who doesn't want to paint when it's like 70 degrees all year round, right? So I think that's probably part of it. Am I rambling?
We can move a little bit.
Okay, I don't know if anyone has questions on that, but
maybe this would be a moment to stop and say what questions, if there are any, about pigments, how paint's made, or anything we've talked about so far.
Yeah.
So if anyone has any questions, go ahead, feel free to put it in the chat, and then I will read questions off throughout the rest of the evening. So right now we have one question, and it was, what was the truest Payne's gray?
I am particularly fond of Holbein's. So,
Right.
and also, because this might spur a question, because we are going to cover this tonight too. So watercolor versus gouache, and what is the difference? And yes, you can use them together. They are both gum Arabic based. They both have lovely pigment in them. The gouache is opaque in two ways. This is gouache. This is, you guys, if they only made a petal palette with 80,000 divisions. Can you guys see this?
Oh, no, there we go. Yeah.
I think I have like 12 colors in each little pod, but that is gouache, and I re-wet it and I add more, and I'm one of those really horrible people that don't clean their palettes. I want to hear cringing. I can hear it. But because I always find I get a good color that I'll never be able to make again, and I need to use it up. But back to gouache versus watercolor. So in gouache, any like student grade watercolor or gouache, the add-on that makes it more inexpensive or less expensive is there's going to be a filler in it besides pigment. But in an artist grade material, the pigment is going to be the high quality addition. With gouache, because it's opaque, there needs to be something in it that makes it so. So in designer's gouache, which you see on tubes, it's usually a whiting agent like chalk. And that is why sometimes when people are introduced to gouache, they don't like it, because when they blend it or use it, their paints look matte and flat and chalky because there's chalk in the paint. With an artist gouache, like Holbein or Schminke, which are two brands we stock in open stock, and we stock the M gram as well, the opacifier in it is just more pigment. So you have the flexibility there of achieving your darks quicker, but you also have the ability to really thin down that paint and not jeopardize the tone of the color. I mean, not the tone, I guess the vibrancy of the color, but you'll still have that true, whatever color you're using, in a watercolor effect. And you can layer it like a regular watercolor painting. You're just gonna get your darks faster. You can use them together. People do. There is let me grab this painting aid. I was actually demoing this for someone. I'm surprised it's surprising you. Virginia and I didn't talk about this part. So this is watercolor in the background, as showing a friend of mine just how they can use gouache with watercolor actually, because they were having trouble getting good darks. Now I have an illustration background. I'm not a botanical artist. So this isn't, and also these flowers are from the dollar store and they're fake. So they look just like this. You can't tell me they didn't. But you can see, you can really use that light gouache on top of a dark color and you're still going to see it. So this is just an example of watercolor and gouache together. Okay, moving right along. I don't know if anyone has questions. I only see myself, so I don't know if anyone has questions.
No questions yet. We'll keep you posted.
I'm so thorough.
You're doing a great job. Absolutely fabulous. And I love your sense of humor too. So, hey, just saying.
It's the one I got.
Would you like to see the gouache sets right now, or wait until we do get through paper and then talk about some of the individual sets? So we have some that are, new that we could share about.
I think we should share as we go.
Share as we go. Yeah.
Share as we go.
Yep.
Thumbs up.
That's awesome. I think we have a few thumbs up here for that, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna show one thing really quick, if that's okay. Just because this is out. So I said this is my gouache palette. It is. It really is. This is my little box of, Holbein does not sponsor me, but they can. We'll see. Okay, so this is my box of regular Holbein gouache. Okay, I have a box of Schminke too. Selfish. Okay, I have all the paint. But so this is my Holbein gouache. This is their regular artist gouache line. So this is going to be dense with pigment and the gum arabic. So there's no whiting in this. This is their artist edition. Try a tube today. Maybe try this cobalt turquoise, or even better. I'm gonna plug myself right now. I hope Virginia's proud of me because this is how I am. This is Cancero Blue, which is a unique pigment to Holbein. Oh, Mary, I'll talk about that. I know what acrylic gouache is too. I got a big stash of that too. Okay, so Cancero Blue is a pigment that's unique to Holbein. They're making it, and I am actually doing a gouache technique class in January. That's a 3-week class. Just really gouache foundations and kind of like a startup. You featuring this blue, permanent white, and jet black. And that's all you need, and some inexpensive brushes. And then you just have to want to play with gouache. And I'm a mean teacher and I give you lots of homework, but we mostly have fun. Okay, so this is my traditional Holbein gouache. You guys, there's more. Hang on. No one leave. Whoever's watching this on YouTube is sad they weren't here for the moment. You guys have a lot of stuff I'm going to show you today. You guys, look what we got. I feel like they're cheering, they're yelling, they're so excited.
We have one question here. What was the name of that blue? Ket Zero? That was the question. How do you spell the name of the blue you were talking about?
No hard questions.
Right.
It was Cancera, and it's Katsura.
Got it. Terrific. I will put that in the chat.
It's G568.
G568. All right.
That's how you spell it. It's a really beautiful blue. It's kind of somewhere in between cobalt and Prussian. Sound good? Okay. It's kind of like the color of my wet paint 45th anniversary shirt. Virginia thinks I'm a little stinker sometimes, and she's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is very exciting. And I think I geek out about gouache a lot because I have an illustration background. That's what I went to school for, although I never pursued it because I had a good job in the art materials industry for 20 years. So, but I still do it and I make a lot of art. But Holbein just came out. They reintroduced their antique palette of colors, which is their Iridori series. And Virginia will spell that one for you.
Okay. IRODORI. Irodori.
Yep. So they just came out with 4 sets of colors. I think we are going to get the open stock eventually, but just get these and just be happy. So
one set per season.
1 set per season. Do we have the other 2?
We have
the color
some
chart.
color charts
Perfect.
that you could show. We don't have
Yes.
the winter set to show you the tubes of, because when you look at that winter set, it looks really dark, but look at these, look at the color chart. We can lay it down. Yeah. Or maybe tip it just slightly so they don't see. the
Can you
reflection.
guys see this? Okay, like look at
Yeah.
this gorgeous gold.
Yeah. And so,
And these beautiful colors, and they're all inspired by traditional Japanese colors used in painting and sumi and art. Just stunning.
there will be a class using this particular palette taught by Justin Terlecki, who's on our staff. And that will be towards the end of January.
Mhm.
And it's both Liz's class and Justin's are up online right now. So if you want to check those out. And he's going to do 4 little projects designed for you to break the ice. It's called Breaking the Ice. using your winter gouache set. So designed to get you to start using it and really experience the whole set.
Fabulous.
See the color charts. Of the
Yeah, here's the
spring.
color charts of the others.
This is the
So
spring.
here's the spring. So this is very punchy and vibrant, very fun.
Ginger Markley is teaching this class in the spring, a gouache class around that particular palette. And she does a lot of with color theory and complementaries. This is a complementary pair arrangement using that set. And then the summer set, there's the summer one.
Mhm.
Looks like summer, doesn't it? It's very,
Beautiful.
very different. And Monica Fogg will be teaching that class.
Mhm.
So calling it Sunday afternoon in the park with gouache or something like that. That's our fun.
And she doesn't have the fall color chart yet because I'm doing that and I haven't done it yet. Because it's doing other
Coming
stuff.
soon, coming soon.
This is the fall range. And actually, can I tell a sneak peek of what we're gonna do?
Oh, sure.
We're gonna work on toned paper for my project. Okay. It'll be fun. This is, yeah, just lovely. Just a beautiful range. I'm so excited that they did this again. These used to be out. I forget why they went away. But
So-
they're back and that's what matters.
And this is by Holbein.
Of course.
Yeah.
They're gonna sponsor me by the end of this video.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Any questions on gouache? And we have the special sets, we have the regular tubes, individual open stock,
Mhm,
we have some classes.
mhm.
Maybe we can move on
Yep.
to the next thing.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I was just gonna mention too, like, so gouache comes in tubes almost all the time. Unless it's a student grade, you can usually get it in a pan. And that's because when it dries, it does crack at times. And I think that's just because of the amount of pigment that's in it when it's drying. It's not gonna crack on your painting once it's absorbed into the paper. So if you have like some squirted out into a palette, sometimes it pops out. I have a little travel tin that I did myself by filling up empty half pans, and the paint doesn't fly out of there. And I think the one color that it did, I took a dot of matte medium and stuck it on the bottom of the dry cake and stuck it right back in there. And so so it stayed. Showed it who's boss.
tubes.
Watercolor, I was gonna say, if you want to squirt watercolor into a pan, you'll probably have more success with that rewetting. And what I do for that is I usually do just a little bit at a time, anywhere from like a quarter pan at a time to half a pan. Let it totally dry, and then I fill up the rest of the pan. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of brands do re-wet well. If you're going to do something like that, Daniel Smith re-wets well, Holbein does, Schminke does, Winsor Newton re-wets well. And that's all you have to do is just activate them with a little mister bottle. And then
You
you're,
want to show how to do that on this set?
oh my God, am I allowed?
This is a.
You guys,
tell-
I haven't
so-
even opened this ever.
Speaking of pan sets, and we can talk about.
This
pan
is so
sets.
exciting.
This is the wet paint custom and exclusive set from Schminke, and it is called Wintertide.
Wintertide.
Has a brand new color in it, which we can open and show you now,
And
and show them how to spray. Just what you do there.
sure.
Yeah.
What if these aren't opened yet? Is this Christina's?
Yeah.
Oh, cute. Okay.
So it has been. This is the. set
She's
that's-
obviously a novice because when I open my pans, they don't fly out everywhere.
So tell them what you're doing so that.
So this
That
is
works.
somebody else's set and that's fine. They didn't tighten their pans down. So when you get a set like this, you see these little prongs, you can pinch it a little bit. And then, okay, just didn't want to crush the wrapper. So you can pinch it a little bit and then you can push that in and that's gonna snap right in and then it's not gonna fly out on you. But I'm gonna let Christina do that herself because this is not my set, this is hers.
And that way you can rearrange the order, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
This set also comes with 12 empties to add your own tube color if you want. But lucky for us, you can also buy Schminky prepared in half pans, as well as Daniel Smith. If you don't want to take the time to squirt out color, but it is pretty economical to buy a tube and refill a pan. So this is a very special blue from Schminky called Ice Blue, and they only made 400 or so.
It's a limited edition, so.
So they only made a limited edition of this, and wet paint, we bought them all.
Yeah.
Except they are coming out with tubes eventually, but we bought all the pans.
The blue is only available in the set right now.
Yep.
And I
Fancy.
checked our stock. We're expecting more on the 15th. So by next week, if you're interested in this set, we will have more by then.
Yep.
I think we did sell out just now.
So if you're gonna re-wet, it's easy. Just a little mist. You wait a couple minutes, load up your brush. You're good to go.
You want to show them that blue?
Yeah. Don't tell Christina how much of her blue I used. I won't use too much. Also, never lend out your fountain pen. Okay, then I'm just going to give like random tips about not sharing art supplies. So stingy. Let's see this ice blue in action. Ooh, so pretty.
Pretty light. Yeah,
Can you guys see it?
pretty pale.
Should I mix it with something? Oh, I got a point.
Get more of it on your brush, maybe.
Yeah. So that's it on the brush.
Nice.
And then it's pretty opaque. It's pale, but opaque. I'm gonna mix it with this purple just to make Christina crazy. Just to see. Ooh, am I gonna need this set? Oh my gosh. Ooh. So that made a fun kind of like lavender mix. Still transparent. That's fun.
Say, Liz, can you maybe hold that up a little bit closer to the camera when you're done, just so?
100% yes.
Excellent, thank you.
And then I think I lost her little flappy thing.
Oh, it's there.
Okay. Gone forever.
We'll find it.
How's that late?
Thank you. That's
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And there's a couple of pearlescent colors, yeah?
Yeah, and then it comes with a pearl blue and a pearl white.
Hence the winter tide, I think.
That's the shimmering snow. Get ready, it's coming tomorrow. And that's when we say you can buy this at wetpaintart.com online and not have to leave your studio. I'm being attacked by a watercolor book, of course. One moment. Stay there. Okay. All right.
You talked about tubes versus pans and why you would use one or the other.
Yeah, I use both in my studio, really.
Mhm.
I have pan sets. I have the Viarco, which you'll see is work off of dried gouache, as you saw in the petal palette.
What about, I'm thinking maybe this might be interesting to show because it's got bigger
Wells.
wells. For those of you who use bigger brushes and bigger paint.
Are you guys familiar with this company,
Kuretake,
Gansai?
maybe?
Yeah. Okay. They love it. They're going crazy. So as you can see, these are really generous sized pans. Something cool when this is the 24 set, I believe. Looks like it.
Then we have 12, 24, and 36, I think also. A variety of options.
What is the name of this company again, please?
It's from Kuretake.
Correct. And we spell that because it's hard to see.
Yep, that is Kuretake.
Excellent.
And we have 2 different 12 sets from them. We have the 24 set from them, and this is the 48.
Thank you.
It's, is,
8 times 6.
and what you call that set is,
The dream set.
the dream set, no. It's called, again, the
Oh, the Gansai?
Gansai.
Yeah. This is the Gansai set. I don't know what that means. But it
Gansai,
comes with
Tommy, I'll write it in the chat.
It comes with a really fabulous range. The one thing that's a little different about this watercolor compared to other brands of watercolor is that you really have the option to use this opaquely, but I still wouldn't call it a gouache. But you can still get really rich color application. Okay, a little sample somewhere.
What are you looking for?
That flower with the gold. Is it right where I left it? It was on the floor. I'll find it. It's gonna pop up. Okay. No, it's okay. We're good. So we'll show you when it comes back, and it will. And there I see it right now. I'm like, what's new? What's new? What wasn't here a second ago? So this is an example of some of their colors. So like they do like these really beautiful pale like designer colors. And those you can definitely get more opaque effects like a gouache, but you can still use it quite transparently and build layers like a regular watercolor. And then they do a few metallics, and so the background and the line work on this is their bronze color, and it's just kind of fun to. I think I made some postcards to mail to my grandma and mom during the pandemic.
Now, how would this be different from koi? I saw something in the chat about koi.
Koi?
Watercolor.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I have that. Koi is flatter. This it's I don't want to say chalky because that's not the right word, but it's a flatter finished watercolor. And this is much more densely pigmented. So I think that's fair to say that. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say about that. But really beautiful. It was kind of nice. This was given to me as a gift during the pandemic because I was in funk. Anyways, try it out. Small sets, huge pans. You can fit a huge brush in here. Should I demo a color?
Would you like to see a color?
Should I demo a color, like a weird color? I should.
Definitely demo a weird color.
Thank you. I shall.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm gonna just use where did that guy go? You guys, my studio is always messy, if anyone was wondering, and having panic attacks, except for like the twice a year when it's not. That's coming up because we got to start all new art next year. So this is, what do they call this one? Malachite. So you can see it's pretty transparent, but I would have no trouble layering that and really, doing more.
Mhm.
I'm gonna hold that up. And like I said, the metallics, if you want a really dense metallic, say you're just doing like a holiday card or some lettering art, it's a really nice little accent, but that's the malachite. So you can still get some transparency, but it's very dense. It's worth a go. Buy one of each. Yeah. Got one. We're going to talk about brushes.
Brushes.
Okay. let's talk about brushes. But I still want to like demo on stuff to like
Mhm.
save time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going off the script, you guys, for you. It's more fun. This is another set that comes in those pans, those nice big wells. This is called a shadow set, and this is from Ito, which is another Japanese company. These paints are probably made in the same factory, I'm guessing. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Okay. But this is a really beautiful, it's okay, muted set. They call it a shadow set because everything is just a little blackened, but not speckly like the lunar colors from Daniel Smith.
ITOH, right?
Yeah.
Didn't say on the box.
Oh, weird.
But show, that's okay. Show the color and I'll look it up.
So it's shadow black. Interesting. Okay, we have this little set too. This would be a really nice gift or a little stocking stuffer for your friend who's the watercolorist that has everything. They don't have this. And it's big enough pans that they should invite you over for an art date and share. So I'm just going to show you these colors that are nice too, because sometimes it's hard to get a good dark. So this is their reddish black. This one's, I love this. This is the yellow black.
Ooh, nice.
They're very earthy. Black sounds almost too heavy to describe these pigments. Oh my God, I love it. That's
Be like a good forest floor, or logs that are in a state of decay with mushrooms coming out of them, or some colors like that.
Winter landscapes. The real winter landscapes. Think slush,
Browns.
dirty roads. I'm just kidding. Ooh, that one. Again, that's their purple black, which reminds me of Payne's gray, and then their brown black too. So they're very densely pigmented. I used very little water, and I'm using a very small number 6 black velvet brush to pick up that color, and it just sucks it all up. So I'm gonna hold this up for you too, so you can see some of it in action. This set, there's something about it. I really like to use it wet into wet, and just let it go wherever it wants to go. But you can see it's kind of separating a little bit, or not separating, but like the blue is coming up above the black. It's just really beautiful. And I really have been into colors where you're not necessarily the boss of that color, and it's going to do what it's going to do. So Daniel Smith, I'm going off the script. Virginia, I'm going rogue. There are colors like Moon Glow, Cascade Green, Serpentine, all the lunar colors. And some of those colors, you'll lay them down, and because they're a mix of colors, other colors will start to show through. And you're not in charge. You don't get to decide when or how those colors show through. So it's pretty fun. So you should probably pick up one of those colors too. Virginia will tell you which ones I said. I don't remember. Or we'll just have to watch the YouTube a few times. Moving right along. Oh, my delicate.
How about brushes?
Yeah, brushes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bring me back. Okay.
It's okay. You started showing black velvet. And we could.
So you guys know about black velvet, I'm assuming, because it's the #1 watercolor brush that Wet Paint sells. And they are beautiful. They're reliable. They hold a bucket. They shape up well. They come in a variety of shapes and sizes, and they're also on sale right now.
Some picture.
There's one.
That's a round.
This is a regular round. I probably use my 8 and my 10 round every painting. I don't know how that 6 got in there. Here's the 8. This is also a favorite. This is the small jumbo. And this guy holds a bucket. So this is really nice, even if you just want to wet parts of your painting or page before you lay down any color. This is also, if you wanted to get someone the funnest gift in the world, do this. Darren, don't be mad at me. Okay, so it is the Shadow Black set and the jumbo round small black velvet brush. And we expect to see those web orders coming in overnight.
Thank you to Patty for correcting my spelling on Aito, A-I-T-O-H.
Other fun shapes they do are like this dagger striper. So this is really fun if you want to do lettering or calligraphy.
And that is by Silver Brush.
Yeah, this is another black velvet. So this guy you can get really noodly with, but also very, so you can imagine where this would be fun for letters, anything with some movement.
Did you mention what they're made of?
No, that is a blend of synthetic hair and squirrel hair, but it's not like street squirrel. It's like fluffy, elegant squirrel, which earlier we mentioned, you know, the artist industry getting the remnants of every other industry. Brushes aren't made with animal hair to serve the artists, or, you know, we're getting runoff from other industries. So I don't know. I don't want you to feel bad about using a natural hair brush because you're using every part of something that is already gone. Oh my God, that got really dark. Don't be sad. Use the sable, use the black velvet, you know, the squirrel. The brushes are already made and they weren't made for us directly. So don't have guilt.
And then are there flats also with that?
They,
line, or-
yes, they do flats and washes and they hold the bucket. All my flats are at my other
Well,
workstation.
show us flats and another
Um,
lot. You've got gray matters here too. that
I
you can show.
don't I have everybody? Okay, I do. So this one's well loved. This is a synthetic. This is actually one of my very go-to synthetics. So if you do feel bad about the animal stuff, try the gray matters. They're very absorbent. They're very durable. The rounds stay pointed. I don't question it. I just buy them because they work. Same thing with the Princeton snap brushes, another inexpensive synthetic line. But if sometimes you want those brushes where you're just going to scribble and work through an idea, you know, or you're going to go on a trip for a couple hours or whatever. Maybe you don't want to bring your fancy stuff. Maybe you want to bring these with your fancy things. Try the synthetics from Gray Matters. They are lovely and they're consistent. And same with the snap ones. And the snap ones, you can get shapes too. Same with the Gray Matters, but you can get filberts, liners, angled brushes, a little more than just your traditional round brush that people ask for when doing watercolor. Those are on sale. The Gray Matters are on sale.
And the Silver Brush.
And the Silver Brush.
Yes.
Another exciting thing that wet paint has brought in as far as brushes go over the last, say, like 6 months. We got a new line of brush from Da Vinci. And Da Vinci has been making brushes forever and they are gorgeous. They are lovely. We have a series from them called Cancero. And this is a blend as well. So this is very thirsty and absorbent and snappy, very fun. That's the Canceros. And they also, in other exciting news, wet paint started bringing in the sables from Da Vinci. And we have 2 series from them. We have the series 35 and the series 11. And they're both great. And one just has a more of a tapered tip, and then one has, they both have the same belly. And people should be excited. We got these in because we couldn't get, and still can't get, Raphael's at the moment. So a lot of stuff is on a shipping container off the coast of California is what they say. But we do have Da Vinci's, and they are lovely. And this is also a really comfortable handle. It's squared. So if you're going for a long time or doing a lot of repetitive motions, it's a very comfortable grip. But these are gorgeous, gorgeous brushes. They're going to hold a bucket. You will not be sad. If you want to try another line of sable that's not Raphael, because you can't get fresh Raphaels all the time currently. And then when you can buy those again, because those are beautiful too. Other favorite brushes, everything brushes. What's better than fresh brushes?
Are there any questions maybe about brushes at this point?
Remember, folks, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Right now, we don't have any brush questions. And thank you, Virginia, for putting those in there. That was really helpful.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, so we kind of went over shapes, filaments. Oh, one thing I want to tell you guys, and this isn't my fault, so you can't even get mad, okay? I don't want to hear about it when you come in. It's not my fault. There's no universal sizing in brushes, okay? There's no, you can't come and say I want around number 6, because someone else can call the number 6 a 35 if they want. All
So,
right.
Across all the lines.
Across all the lines. A lot of the companies, at least they're consistent within their own different series of brushes, but there's not one go-to size 6.
All right, we have a couple of brush questions here for you, Liz.
Okay.
Number 1, how often do you deep clean brushes? And then I have 2 questions after that. So go ahead about how often do you deep clean a brush?
Sure, just my watercolor ones. I am better at maintaining my acrylic brushes. Those you do every time. The watercolor ones, I really give them a good rinse, and I get them under running water when I'm done painting, and then I let them dry flat. I have these little brush rests. I'm going to show you these now because they're adorable. We were talking about them earlier. So wet paint, this would be a great little stocking stuffer for any watercolors or Secret Santa. It's a little brush rest, and they come in a bunch of colors. Just get one of each and you'll be happy. And let your brushes dry flat. The reason you want to let them dry flat is you don't want the water to run down the ferrule and loosen the glue that's holding this ferrule to this wood handle. But as far as deep cleaning, I do that occasionally. Usually when a brush is looking tired, you know, like sometimes you have that week where you go without showering and then you're like, it's time. And and so wash your brush. I use a very mild brush soap for my watercolor and my acrylic. It's in a little beige cup. It's Master's brush soap. And actually I have the big bucket that's in my loo on our toilet tank. And then I have little ones for different art bins and stuff. It's very mild, but it works and it smells great. And when I do wash my brushes, the other thing I like to do, I will kind of hold the puck in my hand. It's in like a little like puck container. And I swish it around like that. And then I gently roll it across my hand or the back, and on my rounds and my filberts, anything that's shaped like my liners, I'll gently reshape the brush, let that thin film of soap dry on there till I go to paint again, rinse it off, and that paint is nice and pointed. That paint is nice and pointed. that tip is nice and pointed. You guys, I'm running out of words. It's almost Friday. But that is how I maintain them, just really as needed. Or if I'm using like a really dense like color load, if I'm doing a lot of gouache, I probably wash them more after gouache use. And I do use my sables and my synthetics with both the watercolor and the gouache. Just depends on what's within reach. I use $2 brushes. I use $80 brushes. I use them together. I know what to expect from them when I pick them up. So that's why it's always, you know, that's one thing about like the brush sizing when someone's like, I want a number 6 or 4 or whatever. Okay, well, I have options, but also like sometimes that cheapie is going to work for you, you know, and sometimes that fancy sable is going to be like that dream experience that you're looking for. So just, you know, do what your budget allows as far as that goes. Like we said, we have 2 really great lines on sale right now. The Black Velvet, which are a synthetic and natural hair blend, and then the Gray Matters, and those are just synthetic. Both work great. I use the Gray Matters also for acrylic inks, Acrylic Gouache. And someone did ask about that product earlier. I did see it pop up for a hot second. And just really quick, Acrylic Gouache is a polymer binder gouache. It's still flat and opaque like traditional gouache, but you can do it on more surfaces, like canvas, wood. I did my earrings, I think. Not these ones. This is so flat from Golden. I did another pair of earrings with acrylic gouache. So it's more for multi-surfaces, but flat and opaque, dries very fast. So you want to squeeze out a little bit at a time. We'll do a class on that eventually. On Wet Paint's YouTube channel, I do have a quick little rundown video of the difference between gouache and acrylic gouache, featuring Holbein. I know, you're surprised. Featuring Holbein, because they made it first, or they make it the best, the acrylic gouache. And so I'm comparing the same palette of colors, so you can kind of see the different properties if you want to watch that.
I think we had a couple more questions on brushes before we get to.
Yes, you guys, don't let me just go on and
Totally
on.
do. We totally do. I think you were talking about consistency or sizes with brushes, and one of the questions was, what about Winsor and Newton Series 7? And what about Isabey?
As far, well, yes, we've been able to still get the Series 7s in. And Isabey, I think we get, that's the same distributor for us as the Raphaels. So it's a little, maybe we'll have it. I do find, I mean, okay, I don't want to freak people out about the sizing thing. I just want you to know that it is a thing, like the number size. A lot of brands kind of agree, like they're going to be close, you know, but there are going to be those brands where like that 14 looks like a 10, but within those brands' own lines and their different series of brushes, they tend to be consistent. So I would say look at it and get the shape and size you want. Yeah. Did I show you guys the quill brush yet?
No, well, you should.
Oh, I showed you the Cancero because it's lovely.
Yeah.
But it has been hard to find quill ferruled brushes, and they're lovely. I'm sure there's some benefit besides aesthetic, or not, to why you'd want them, but they are gorgeous. But they are traditionally, quill brushes were made with goose feathers or goose quills. Thank you. Not the feathers. Quills. This is plastic, and then it's wire wrapped. The one thing I will point out, because now I have to point it out because somebody did it, Someone bought a quill brush and I don't know who, so I won't even scold them. And they took it home and they undid the wire. You guys, that's holding the quill on. Don't undo the wire. Don't take your brush apart. This is opened. Okay? Okay. I'm assuming you're like, yes, Liz, we won't do it. So don't do that. That's brushes,
We're a little after-
substrates.
yeah,
Oh
We're a
my-
little after 8, so we want to kind of.
oh my God, you guys.
To move through, take a deep breath.
We'll see you for part 2 next week.
Let's talk
No.
about paper. real quick
Okay.
here.
Don't let me talk anymore. Okay, you guys, we're gonna be really terrible. I'm sorry. I kind of, you can see why Jaren likes me on the sales floor, because I just talk about this stuff like, can't help it.
You're fantastic.
Okay, so paper surfaces, so many. You guys, just come into Wet Paint or order online tomorrow because there's a blizzard. Order the Wet Paint paper sampler. There are so many sheets of paper to try. And I'm gonna say this, and people are gonna roll their eyes, besides arches. I love arches. I do. Okay, but truly I'm a Fabriano girl. But there are so many other papers. There's Bockingford, which makes toned papers, which are really cool. There's Yupo, which is a plastic paper, which is wild, and they make a translucent one so you can paint on both sides. Stonehenge just introduced their line of watercolor papers this last year, I believe. Stonehenge forever has made high quality drawing, printmaking, multimedia papers, and now they do a line of watercolor papers. They do a black paper as well, which is really fun for gouache, metallic watercolors, which we'll get to if I can talk fast enough. We have new papers from Hahnemühle, which is a beautiful company. I've been a fan of their Britannia series, which comes in blocks forever. And they just came out with 2 new series, the Cezanne and the Turner, available in sheets. Beautiful surfaces, some very, very similar to arches. And I think a little bit more cost friendly. Fabriano, I'm sorry, they can't do anything wrong. No, I'm not, but they do a surface that you should know about. And that surface is called soft press. And the soft press is right in the middle of hot and cold. Cold press, goosebumps. Hot press, ironed, smooth. Soft press, the middle. Rough press, texture. That was my really quick 1, 2, 3 surfaces. But
Weeds paper?
the weights of paper, yep. So traditionally there's going to be, your 90 pound, your 140, your 300. And the way the paper, if you're wondering, gets that weight determination is by how much a ream of that paper weighs when it's that size. So you can, so let's say they're 22 by 30, because most of them are. So 500 sheets of that stack of paper weighs 140 pounds. How many is in a ream?
It depends.
Total brain fart. Okay, so you can get an arches paper, say a 140 pound, but then we have another size from them that's 27, 29 by 40. They're called elephant size, and that they call a 260 pound, because it's twice the size, but it's still going to be that same thickness as that 140. The other special thing as far as weights go is that Fabriano does a 200 pound, which is really lovely. It's just, that happy middle between the 140 and the 3. And what?
No, don't worry about it. They'll watch.
Cezanne is a company that we stock as well, mostly in packs, but I want to show you because they do some really fun shapes, and you can get, they're sold in packs of 5, but they do hot press and they do cold press. They also do squares, but it's really this lovely paper with this little decal. This is not extremely sized, meaning like arches where it tends to be like a crisper paper. There's glue in there that's making it that way. This is very soft, so you definitely get a different look, but it's definitely a fun thing just to play on, goof up, you know, try it out. It's worth it. We also stock beautiful handmade papers from a Canadian company called Saint Armand, which have nice decals too, if you're into that look. That's the 1, 2, 3 papers. No questions allowed because we're moving on. We have so much to cover. I'm kidding. If there's questions, yeah. Oh,
What about, does
One more.
anybody have questions on sizing, what that means? Is this a time when you want us to talk about that?
That'd be great. We did have one question as far as Yupo. Does Yupo need a finishing spray after painting?
So that depends on what you use on it. We will definitely talk about, this is the Shizan
I'll put it in the chat.
for the handmade papers. There is a spray fixative that's not cheap. That's how I like to start all my answers to anyone. It's from Lascaux, which is a wonderful company. They make a beautiful fixative that you can use on anything. You can use it on gold leaf, digital prints, watercolor, India ink, charcoal, really anything. And the beauty of this fixative is that it does not do a color shift. Like there are some fixatives that you'll spray, you know, like say on a charcoal drawing, and your darks get darker. And maybe that's not necessarily the look that you're even going for. You want your tones to show up as you've painted them. So for watercolor, for fixing, I would use that Lascaux fixative, and it's really the only one that I'd recommend. And you'd be hard pressed to find another wet paint employee that would steer you another way. The one thing that's very popular to use on Yupo, and this is not that tonight, is alcohol inks. And to fix alcohol inks, which you might have seen demos of people using that, there's a varnish from Krylon called Cambar, and that's the #1 recommended thing for fixing alcohol inks on Yupo, which is really like where you see Yupo come in. It's a very powerful duet. Let's see. Any more paper questions? Because we have fun stuff. Okay, we're moving on. Let me move it. You got it. It's okay. It's an avalanche over there.
Do you want to, as long as we're on
Yes.
surfaces, talk about something? These are really
Yes.
glorious.
You
and
guys,
New.
we have to talk about this really quick. So if you know anyone who's been really good this year, I've been okay. Escher makes the perfect sketchbook. So Escher is a company that started by crowdfunding, and they have a beautiful range of sketchbooks. But new this year is their sketchbook that is made with Fabriano paper. And I don't know if you can see, but they've included the decal and the watermark, and they're so romantic and beautiful. And they come in hot press and cold press. And if you need to like circle this in the catalog and stick it underneath your sweetie's pillow so they get the hint, I mean, just do it. I mean, this is just, and then use it. And then don't be afraid to use it. Get nice things and use them. What's the point of otherwise? But yeah, look at this beautiful watermark and then that beautiful decal. Absolutely wonderful. Pocket in the back. Sturdy, sturdy thing.
And they've got kind of a leather-like cover.
Yep. Beautiful finish. Cold press in the brown and hot press in the navy.
You had a favorite book by Handbook Journal.
I
on the
do.
show.
You guys, I wanted to show the one in the fancy sketchbook. It's Fabriano that's in there. So there is a journal that I've really become quite smitten with. Nothing, that's just gouache falling over. It is from Handbook Journal. This is my present I got for myself. Escher is the company
I'll-
of the last sketchbook,
I'll do it.
ETCHR. So this one is from Handbook, and for a long time they made I believe it's a 98-pound one. It's just this very lovely neutral linen cover. Oh God, let me find some bad art to show you. Oh, it's not okay. Well, no, nothing good. Sorry, nothing to see here. Wait, I'll show you a fun one. This is gouache. That's my little Van Gogh and Frida fun. But this is a 98-pound, which I don't consider heavy. My normal go-to paper, just so you know what I'm comparing everything to, is 300-pound extra white rough Fabriano. Okay, I know, I'm a crazy lady. So comparative, this is very thin, but it holds up and it doesn't ripple. So this is the one that they've made for a few years. And then just this last year, they came out with a 300 gram, so that's 140-pound paper. And this has really just become a workbook. I just happened to turn to this hornbill, which is done with Posca paint markers, which is a whole nother class, but it's basically acrylic. And this is really just, there's something really approachable about it. And there's something that just makes me want to put,
That's the shadow set.
yep, shelves that put everything in it. So don't buy them all, you know, but buy one or two for yourself. Let's save me some.
What was
Very
the
beautiful.
manufacturer? What was the manufacturer for that second sketchbook?
Handbook journal. This guy. The Handbook Journal Co. They
Thank you.
used to be called Global. And then they got bought by Speedball, thankfully. So this company is still kicking. Thank you, Speedball, for buying them. I love their sketchbooks.
Maybe show them a little quick, show them some fine tech on the black.
I have to show you fun stuff, okay? No more talking, no more questions. So this is just a mixed media. This is an inexpensive, this is their 400 series mixed media. Strathmore, they do a watercolor too, but, yeah, they
Strathmore
do.
does everything pretty much.
They do, but this is
Yeah.
not that. So this is a smoother finish. And I wanted to show you so many things, you guys. So Fine Tech is a beautiful line, Germany.
Yeah,
So they make metallic watercolors, which is, I know is not everybody's jam. But when they're like this beautiful, like it could be your jam. You could try it. They're amazing. So this is a set that was already assembled. Thank you. Coordinated. What was I trying to say? And then we also sell empty tins, and you can pick out open stock. We just brought in their full line, so we have, I think it's 44, 48 colors. So there's like a rose gold. This is their orange. There's this beautiful hazelnut color. They're just really fun, especially if you want to do anything like whimsy. And because I have that illustration background, I'm allowed to do whatever I want. Also, I'm older now. And I can also, that's why. All right, so please try these. They're available singly. They range from $7 a pan up to, I do.
Oh,
Thank you.
do a
Yes, I
little
do.
actual show because they are so stunning.
I know. Why am I putting it away? It's cool. Just trust me. Bye. Sorry.
No
Oh my
problem.
God. Stay with me, Virginia.
We're just
It's
all
almost
together. That's-
TMI. Okay. Where did my sprayer go? Whoever sees the sprayer on the table, yell. Yes, found it. Okay. So I'm gonna activate these guys. And no, you guys, I don't remember the name of all the colors I have, so I'm sorry. No questions about the colors I'm using. You have to pick out what you like. Okay.
But it might be hard to tell.
All right, I'm gonna get this guy beautiful. So this is the Tangelo, which is their orange. And it is so beautiful. It's kind of like a really just beautiful copper. trying to think if there's a YouTube video on this. for wet paint. I don't know if there is. There should be.
I'll make a note to do that.
I just made more work for myself. This is their blue. Sometimes you need a shiny metallic electric blue and you don't know it until you have it in your studio. It's like insurance. Okay, I'm going to show you the color chart. This is just the colors that we had before we got all the new ones in. Show the toned paper from you guys, more metallic.
Oh, you're making me nervous or dizzy. Just hold it still.
Fun. Too much power. Okay, they're gorgeous. Try them. I wanted to show you one more paper before I forget, because this is also really fun and something like you might want to try yourself. But and it is, speaking of like the toned black paper, Honda Mule just released some toned watercolor paper, and you can get this in a sketchbook format as well as a couple sizes of blocks, and they do a really beautiful soft tan. This is paler than, like, say, cardboard. It's like really creamy coffee, and then the gray is also very soft and subtle. And the sketchbooks come like this beautiful fabric cover, and that's a little moth I painted in gouache. And now looking at it, I definitely think he needs some metallic fine tech in the wings, right? Okay. It's the beauty of a sketchbook. You can go back and work in it forever. So I did want you guys to see.
You want to try the neo color in that and go towards some drawing next, water soluble drawing tools that we have.
She's getting me in trouble. So these are some of my favorite things. First, I am gonna show you the neo colors. So this is a really fun class that I do with wet paint, and I've done it a few times. I'll do it again. No one can stop me. Gouache makes neo colors. You do recognize the box from the classes. So I keep all mine in this little cigar box, but they come in sets, or you can just, hoard like I did. So those are your two options, organized or hoarding. This is what the sets look like. These are behind the counter at Wet Paint. This is $28 for a 15 pack. If you ever want to take a class, this is usually the set I recommend. Obviously, it's a slippery slope and you're just going to want to have one of everything. I'm just going to demo super quick. And I do want to mention one thing too. They make a holder. This is the Fix holder for these watercolor crayons. Thank you, Mary. And it's worth every penny. It's worth every penny. It's expensive. It also holds their watercolor pencils, which are top of the line pencils for the market. This is, we have 8 minutes left. And the brush. Oh, good, here's another brush. Okay, so this is watercolor crayons. You can also scribble on this palette that they make and just carry that with you. So I have crayons on one side and their pencils on the other. If you haven't tried their watercolor pencils yet, they are absolutely lovely. They are the most pigmented watercolor pencil that you can get. I'll show you those as well. This is the Gouache. Highly pigmented. This is the Museum Aquarelle. They're lovely, lovely. They're so rich. They look just like paint when you color with them. And you can also blend them just on a palette. So if you want to travel light, try one of these medias. If you want to mix it up, you want to work in bed and not have wet paint, bring your pencils or your crayons. And there's that.
They completely re-wet. I mean, they
Yep.
really are good compared to.
They just
other
keep
pencils.
going. I'm gonna really quick show you one more thing that you can draw and paint with. We're not getting to the combo markers, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So this is something really lovely. It's from a company called Art Graph. They make these Biarco art tiles. They come in sets and they're also sold singly. They also make water soluble graphite. So you can buy them in single pans. This is a ton of product, a ton of product. So you can draw with this. You can wet that line. And look how rich that color is when it comes up. The other fun thing you can do, and this is, might scare some people, but you can mix right on the pan. And it is rich. This is pretty opaque. But you can brush it out and get transparency. You can mix this up on like a little porcelain palette and, you know, get that watercolor effect. But it's really fun. The white works really well. This set is pretty incredible if you don't want to jump into the primary set. The grayscale set in front of me, this black is so black it looks like ink. It's beautiful. It comes with that black, it comes with a graphite one, which is lovely, and then a white. So that's really great if you want to do value studies or just have a minimal palette going on. They also came out with a magenta and a phthalo green recently. So those weren't available in a cork holder set yet, but you know, you got to buy them and then you got to get the porcelain dishes to put them in. That's the rule. It says it somewhere. Just kidding. This is a really lovely sweetheart too for a gift. This is Art Graph from the same company. This is a disc of water soluble graphite. I've had this for years and it's hard to make a dent in it and it is lovely. This is about 20, I want to say like 25, 28 bucks. This will just go on forever though. And you can draw, you can get it a little wetter than that. Okay. You can do washes and it's just graphite. And then it dries. You can paint with it, do value studies. Super fun to have within reach. Keep it on your nightstand with a water brush and a Hahnemuhle accordion book and be happy.
Do you have a water brush to show real quick?
I do.
What you need with that?
So I'm sorry this one's loaded with ink because I'm a monster. So this is actually loaded with Dynaflow, a whole nother water media we can talk about a whole nother time. There's more we can talk about another time, Virginia. Okay, so I have loaded this. This is one size. This is the Pentel brand, and I really like their brand. It's easy to fill. So normally you would fill this with water, unless you're me and you are wild and you fill it with Dynaflow. So come find me in the store and we'll talk about Dynaflow. Or we'll just meet you in a few months and talk about all the other weird stuff that Liz has in her studio. Should have a show next month on what's in my studio. Look at that little fish I just did.
Oh, that's great.
So this is their hot pink, because sometimes you really need hot pink, right? That looks like a watercolor. Dynaflow is pigmented. See, now I'm going on about
Okay.
you guys.
Pick up a couple of pens because we want to just briefly touch on people who like to do urban sketching and, you know, combining drawing with watercolor.
All right.
So
I'm showing you one brand tonight. And if you ever want to just do a pen day, we'll hook it up. So this is Twisby. This is our newest line to wet paint of fountain pen. The first one I'm going to show you, this is a Diamond Mini. They come in different sizes. I'd say these are a mid-range pen. So like 37 for something like this style. And this one, I believe was maybe 60. And just absolutely lovely. Reliable and responsive. This one I have in with carbon black ink, which is waterproof and black and very rich. And the other one, my other favorite waterproof ink, which is in this one, is Lexington Gray, which is like a pencil gray color. And I think I should stop because you want to talk about the catalog.
oh, we could do that very briefly. Yeah. that would be
And
great.
we want you guys to check out the store. We have awesome holiday stuff in. Virginia and I are there a lot. I'm there Wednesdays through Saturday usually. So I hope I can help you with something anytime, or if you just want to talk shop, but maybe like not like the week before Christmas, you know, maybe when it's slower. and we can talk about something if you need a little pick-me-up. We could go on, we could do this again. There could be a part 2. Let us know.
Vic's got a really good question. If we do drive to wet paint tomorrow morning and it snows real hard, can we just stay overnight and then we can just paint and have fun in your studio?
Yes.
Okay, great. Awesome. We've got about 3 minutes. Yeah.
This is my house. So
Uh-huh.
the store is also fun.
Aha.
If we can make it back to my house, my husband's a cook and the dog's here and she's pretty great. But we're gonna go through this I'm sure we can stay in the store.
All right, perfect. Well, we got about 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. So our the wet paint catalog is I'll just say it's also online on our main homepage. So that might be your best way to really take some time with it and go through. You can click on the catalog and then you can take it page by page. It's really easy to use with an arrow. You can see that we have a lot of some of our standard things that we sell every day are discounted.
Brand new gray Micron sets.
Yeah.
Micron makes gray now.
And that would be great for sketching.
Mhm.
I wanted to mention that we have a lot of kids things, and if we have a couple minutes to show you a few items. So Gecko is a company from France. We used to sell these a few years back, and they're back. This company, each project is designed by an artist, and it includes it's a lovely box with a closure, and it shows you all the pieces that are inside. So these are project-based things. They come for different ages. So this was like 6 to 10. There's a little bit younger, 5 to 8. And for really young kids, this is called Micador. Micador is Spanish, I think.
Mhm.
And they will start as young as 2 years old. So very early art. Very ergonomic and all non-toxic, which is important. And especially if you have young kids, you're gonna know that and be aware of that. This was one of the fun books. We have books for kids and adults. There were a few watercolor things that these are in the catalog as well. I don't know if you want to move the whole stack out of the way.
Yes,
Sorry, now we're kind of
you're great.
Russian, but this is a really great little book, Watercolor with Me in the Jungle. And it includes each page, you'll have a sketch, a light sketch to get you started, but all the instructions that you need, which brushes, which colors, and some steps to follow. So this would be for actually any age, but a young person could probably easily do this.
Self-directed.
Yeah, I would say grade school or high school because of the text. Since you're watercolorist, there's some really fun new, do you want to talk about these? These are Ebu.
Ebu is another beautiful company, and they hire artists to do all their design work and art for all their sketchbooks, pencils, pads. They just came out with these 2 new watercolor sets, which are just lovely. You could probably buy them for yourself and then squirt artist color into them. They also came out with coordinating paper pads.
Yeah.
These are 16 sheets, and the paper is actually nice watercolor paper. So worth a shot.
Yeah, and just to say they're good gift giving sort of things. This is also something we sell all the time, but Faber-Castell has a line for young children, grade school age. I'd say probably we're talking 3 and up. I mean, this one is really a bestseller. Beeswax crayons in a little carrying case. I don't know a 2 or 3 year old who doesn't love to carry a little bag around. And this is great, kind of parent tested, I would say.
Yeah, high
product.
quality.
High quality. I like to use them too. A little paint
I
set
have those.
if you've got a young painter at home. This is a great little set also. Just a little bit of everything and in a case. Projects galore. This I had to just show you if you're a Star Wars fan. It's a crochet set. And so we have felting sets, crochet sets, embroidery sets, a lot of craft things.
Lots of making,
things,
hands-on.
and some custom things from wet paint. This is probably gonna be a little hard to see. It is a bag that you can wear around your waist or over your shoulder, and it is a drawing kit inside. So this would be great for anyone you know who
Anyone.
wants to start drawing,
Or anyone you don't know.
or anyone you don't know, but it's a great little basic set. This is a wonderful sketchbook by Talons, sharpener, eraser, and a variety of basic drawing supplies. So, you know, if you've got a hard to buy teen, a hard to buy 14, that might be a good one to go to. That probably is
Our time.
just a speed dating of the holiday collections. We are well stocked. And
Ready
we
to
are
help.
open from 10 to 6.
Mhm.
We'll be open late the 23rd.
Thursday, the 23rd.
Thursday, the 23rd. Otherwise, on the
We'll be open
holidays,
till 8.
we close a little bit early. But we're happy to pull things together for you. You can order online. You can come and visit us. We'd love to see you. And we wish you the very best, safe and joyous holiday.
Well, thank you, Virginia and Liz.
Thank you, guys. It
You
was
showed us
great.
so many
Noodles.
fascinating art supplies and gave us so much information in a
noodle.
short amount of time. Thank you.
Yep. And
So
also,
much for
the,
having us.
thanks guys for everything. It was awesome. And also the link for the catalog is in the chat if anybody needs that.
Thank you.
And so we want to thank you guys again, and hopefully people will be able to come on down and get some things and maybe take some classes. So thanks again.
Thanks.
Really appreciate having you
Yep.
guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.